Wow. Okay. So yeah, I was not expecting that. I went into this Nintendo Direct with the expectation that, this is a transitional year for Nintendo. You don't usually see that final year go out with a lot of really, really exciting games. Now, to be completely fair here, though, I still thought they'd put together a solid showcase. But this was more than just a solid showcase. This was a great showcase, and they really took me by surprise in a gleeful way. Now, okay, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, just considering this has really been their MO pretty much all generation long. They have really delivered a special generation year in and year out with little slowdown at all, and I can now definitively say that I think the Nintendo Switch is their best console ever made from a library standpoint. Nintendo has been absolutely killing it since day one of the Switch's launch, and it looks like that will continue until its very end. At this Nintendo Direct, they just revealed another really strong lineup of games at this showcase, and you know what? Let's just go and get into some of my thoughts and the many highlights that they had at this event. So they opened up the showcase with a franchise that a lot of us assumed was dead. The Mario & Luigi RPG series is officially back with a brand new entry, and let me tell you right now, I think this game looks amazing. I love the visual art style that they're going with. The platforming looks like it's a lot of fun. They have some new abilities that they can use in the overworld, and yes, it is a turn-based RPG with those context-sensitive commands that the Mario RPG series is so well known for. I mean, for that matter, we are right now in the midst of a Mario RPG renaissance. This is something the fans have begged for pretty much all generation long, and, actually longer than that. It's been nearly a decade since we got a new Mario RPG entry, but now all of a sudden, they brought the big three back within a 12-month period. Last November, we got Super Mario RPG. Then last month, we got Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remake. And now, on November 7th of this year, we will get Mario and Luigi Brotherhood. It's almost like Nintendo finally realized that fans love the Mario RPG games, with that traditional turn-based combat. And we're seeing that in the sales charts right now. Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door is performing very well, especially over in Japan. And hopefully that continues on with Brotherhood as well. That way we can cement a fruitful future for this franchise going forward. So right away, I'd say that Nintendo started this showcase with a bang. And this was actually one of my favorite announcements for the entire day. I'm a big fan of the Mario RPGs myself. There was zero slowdown from this point, though, because the Fantasian port was also confirmed. Midori was, in fact, correct, and I do have to say this right now. Despite the Midori drama that's been going on the past few days, he really ultimately proved that his leaks were accurate throughout this showcase. We'll get more into that here in just a second because that wasn't the only leak that was accurate, but this is a great announcement as well. It was really always a shame that this game was locked away on Apple Arcade out of all places. And for those that don't know about this game and why this is so exciting, this is a classic style JRPG developed by Mistwalker and Hironobu Sakaguchi, which is the father of Final Fantasy. Much like a lot of his other games, Fantasian was very well received on Apple Arcade, but it was always a game that a lot of fans wanted on consoles. It's been a long time since we've seen his games on consoles. Mistwalker back on the Xbox 360 with games like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, those games were excellent. But interestingly here, Square Enix, out of all companies, partnered up with Mistwalker to make that happen. So this is actually a bit of a throwback here with Sakaguchi and Square together once again. I actually really love this combo, and even better here is that this port comes with some improvements. It will now have voice acting, 4K resolution if you play it on the Xbox Series, PC, or the PlayStation 5, and also it will come included with a normal mode to make it a little bit more accessible. That was actually one of the main complaints for the original game. It was just a little bit too hard, but they fixed that up in the port, which will release sometime this holiday. Now I'm just kind of hoping for a physical release. We've gotten no indication one way or the other just yet, but I guess we'll just have to wait a little bit longer to get that news, and including its more official release date. Now, speaking of Square Enix and Midori, though, another rumor that he floated around was that Dragon Quest III HD 2D would be announced at the Nintendo Direct. But he also claimed that that project has also been expanded to Dragon Quest I and Dragon Quest II. And apparently, once again, he was indeed correct. This is actually also really good news for Final Fantasy IX, considering he also leaked a bunch of news for that game. But anyways, first off here is that Dragon Quest III looks amazing. I just love the HD 2D visuals so much. And the great news here is that it will release on November 14th for all platforms. That means, yes, it will be coming over to Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo. Remember, Square Enix is done with being an arms for hire company. They are a multi-platform first company now, and that does include the Dragon Quest games as well. Now, as for Dragon Quest 1 and 2, though, those are planned for 2025. And I think for people that are new to this series will kind of be confused by the order of their releases. Why bring out Dragon Quest 3 first? But I will say this right now, Dragon Quest 3 is technically a prequel that's set before the first two games. So this is actually a great way to play these games. Again, though, these games look amazing, and Dragon Quest 3 will get a physical release for $60. I assume the same thing will happen for the other two games when they eventually launch as well. So, I think we can already kind of say that this has been a great Nintendo Direct. We've already talked about a lot of really exciting games, but they just kept coming. A new Mario Party game is set for October 17th by the name of Super Mario Party Jamboree. And from what I can tell with the trailer, they took a lot of cues from the classic Mario Party games. Those really have always been the best entries in the franchise, and I think they've kind of gotten this series back on track throughout this generation. The last game took more inspiration from the original games as well, and it turned out to be a huge hit. So it seems like they're doubling down on that, and quite honestly, this could be their best-selling game this holiday. Mario Party has really become a big-time seller for them on the Nintendo Switch, so let's go. Bring on Jamboree, again, coming out on October 17th. Now, their other big holiday release, though, and this came as a big surprise, a new Zelda game is set for September 26th, but there's a big catch here. In this new entry, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, you won't play as Link, but rather you'll actually play as Zelda in a top-down world. Now, personally, I really like the top-down series. I've been wanting a new entry for quite some time, and I like the art style that they did with Link's Awakening just earlier this generation. So I'm really digging a new top-down Zelda entry. Now, at the same time, though, admittedly, it's been a long time since we've gotten a brand new top-down Zelda game. So, I was hoping for a more traditional Zelda game with Link as the protagonist. But I also have to say that I think this is a really neat idea that I'm personally excited for. It's just something completely different for the Zelda franchise, and I'm all for that. I like trying new things, and I guess Zelda can take objects and place them anywhere that she wants, including with enemies, interestingly enough. So that could make for some really interesting puzzles, especially if there's other items included as well. They're kind of keeping a lot of that information secret for the time being, but there are indications in the trailer that she will get more items as she goes along. So if they have dungeons and a lot of the traditional Zelda formula, I like this idea on paper. Again, it's something completely different, and now that I think about it, her ability is kind of similar to Tears of the Kingdom and the God Hand. So, this is kind of a way to bring that over to a top-down game. That's actually kind of cool. Like I said, though, I love the top-down Zelda games, and even though this new entry is different than I expected, I'm really excited to play it for myself. Again, it will come out on September 26th, and I wasn't expecting a brand new Zelda game this year, but there we go. It's a little bit different than expected, but very, very excited. Donkey Kong Returns is also making a comeback. This game originally released on the Nintendo Wii back in 2010, and then re-released for the 3DS, and now apparently for the Nintendo Switch on January 16th of 2025. So it will miss out on that holiday period, but this is a great game to start the new year with, because, I can tell you this firsthand, it's a good game. If you like Tropical Freeze, you're going to love this game as well, and this will now be the definitive way to play it. If anything else, it's going to make this game more accessible, and it's definitely a game very deserving of that. Now, before we get into the big announcement of the day, though, I do want to bring up two other games that stood out to me, but also might get a little overlooked just because of how packed this showcase was. First is a new Metroidvania game by the name of Mio Memories in Orbit. Like, I understand that the Metroidvania genre is, I'll say, a little bit oversaturated by this point, so it's harder to come by one that really stands out, but seeing this game, it makes me think that there is some potential with this one. I really like its art style. I think the gameplay looks interesting, and its music kind of gives me Nier vibes. Now, if you don't know, Nier is one of my favorite franchises, and, I love the music in those games, so that might be playing a part in why this one stood out to me just so much. But right now, I'm hopeful it's as good as it looks. I mean, we'll see, but unfortunately, it might be a little while because it is a 2025 game. Now, as for this other game, though, I'm cautiously optimistic for this one, simply because I do like the Danganronpa series. Apparently, they are working on a brand new game, the 100-line Last Defense Academy. I almost kind of wonder if this is linked to the Danganronpa world. If so, they haven't said anything just yet, but it does seem to have some resemblance, or at least with the character designs. It might just be because it's coming from the same people, but it's instead more of a tactics-based RPG. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I wasn't necessarily super impressed by the gameplay. Again, I'm more interested just because of its connection with Danganronpa, but, I guess we'll kind of see what happens. It will also be out in 2025. The big final announcement, though, Metroid Prime 4 finally made its appearance. We finally got gameplay, and it looks great. As you would expect. It looks like Metroid Prime. But that's kind of the thing about this announcement. There's been a lot of discussion in whether or not this will be a Nintendo Switch 2 launch game. Now, I've been under the impression for a long time now that it will be, and that it might be a cross-generation title. Well, by coincidence, yeah, coincidence, right? Metroid Prime 4 is launching sometime in 2025. There's no expected quarter or month in which it'll release. Just a mysterious 2025, the same exact year that the Nintendo Switch 2 is planned. I mean, I think we can kind of put two and two together here. This will, more than likely, be a cross-generation title for the Nintendo Switch and its successor. Now, personally, I think that this is a great move to make. I mean, just looking at the trailer, it's one of the best-looking Switch games to date, as you would expect for the Metroid franchise. These games have always looked very good. And they can use that to showcase the capability for the Nintendo Switch successor. That's not the only benefit, though, but I think that this is also a great strategy for the Metroid franchise as well. We always talk about how more people need to play these games. And here is a real opportunity for Metroid. Hypothetically, if it's a launch title for the Switch 2, and if it's well received, a lot of people will buy into it as one of their first Nintendo Switch 2 games. This is a very similar move to what we saw with Zelda Breath of the Wild when it first launched for the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. And look at what that did for the Zelda franchise. Breath of the Wild is now the best-selling Zelda game ever made, and it really catapulted Zelda to a completely new tier. So I think this is not only a great opportunity for Nintendo, but also a great opportunity for the Metroid franchise going forward. And as a fan of the series, I couldn't be more thrilled about that. My only thing about all of this, though, is what exactly happened to the supposed Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 re-releases? I still feel like we need those games for modern platforms to get everybody caught up with the Metroid Prime series. I mean, who knows, though? There's still time to release those games, considering we really have no idea when Metroid Prime 4 will actually launch. It could launch in early 2025, it could launch in mid-2025, or honestly, it could even launch late in the year. We really have no idea as of right now. So there's still time for Metroid Prime 2 and 3 if those are actually in development for the Nintendo Switch. There you go, though. Those are my main highlights for the show. And like I said, I thought this was a great showcase. Between Nintendo and Xbox, I'd say the month of June has been great. I'd probably rank the showcases with Xbox at number one. I still feel like that was one of the best showcases in years, but I mean, kudos to Nintendo as well. I thought this was also a really, really strong showcase. I'd put them at number two. I think this was really an A showcase as well. Now, I don't know where I'd rank PlayStation State of Play and the Summer Game Fest because really neither were all that great. But hey, we at least got Astrobot at the State of Play, so, you know, I like that at least. But as for you all, I did ask you all to give the Nintendo Direct a letter grade, and most of you were satisfied as well, with more than 50% giving it an A or B. So I think that is very telling in just how strong this showcase was, and just what a fun month with a lot of really great announcements. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, peace out.